A leggy young lady strolls in from Australia. Malur the orangutan prepares to go under. And is love on the cards for 2 Galapagos tortoises. Early morning at Auckland Zoo sees different animals from around the world up and about. At the rainforest enclosure, the orangutans are rolling up to greet their visitors. 8-year-old Marju and his mum Malur are a picture of health and happiness. Primate keeper Courtney likes to keep it that way.
The bond between Malur and I is pretty cool. She definitely trusts me when it's time to train. She's so consistent, so lovely, so gentle. We work together really well.
10 years have passed since Malur had a full health check, so it's high time she had a visit to the vet.
Hello, Malur. Hello.
Malur has chronic cracking on her all-important hands and feet. Ointment hasn't helped, so Courtney's keen to find a speedy solution.
Obviously, orangutans use their hands a lot for brachiating, their normal locomotion, so it's really important that we try to take care of this problem best we can.
The vet can only examine Malur under the safety of an anaesthetic. Courtney knows the gentlest way to administer the sedative.
You're so good, Malur. I've been working with this to hopefully be able to hand inject her for this procedure, so it's less stress and she doesn't have to get darted, and she's been doing brilliantly. But there's still a long way to go.
The plan is to get Malur used to the needle, so when the vet puts her under for real, she won't panic and hurt herself.
So what I'm about to do is just do another kind of descent session, and hopefully I can put this kind of up to her arm and have her hold, and then maybe kind of approximate and get a little farther into it and maybe actually stick it in her arm. So we'll see how we go today. Hi, Malur. Good girl. Have your shoulder, please. Oh, what a lady. Hold. Hold. Yes, well done. Thank you.
The whole primate team hope that Malur's acceptance of the needle will be repeated when it's for real. Or will the training be in vain?
Finished. Well done.
Across at Pride Lands, African animal families come in all shapes and sizes. Mum and Dad giraffes Rukia and Zabulu have been adjusting to life on their own after their strong young son Jelani crossed the Tasman to join a herd of other young males. Their keeper David puts his heart and soul into his animals.
A big part of the job is actually how emotionally demanding it is as well. It becomes a lifestyle, you know. It's more than just a job that you come in and do your work, get paid, and that's it. You know, you're trying to do everything you can for those animals.
David has a very tall order today, a beautiful new giraffe. And there's even a welcoming committee.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
2-year-old female Karaka from Taronga Western Plains Zoo in Australia is here as part of the international breeding program.
She's just being delivered to our giraffe house at the moment, where she'll spend a bit of time by herself, just so we can check that she's healthy and didn't carry anything from Australia. And then from there we can start introducing her to the new herd, which will be really exciting.
But before Karaka can stretch her legs with the Pride Lands herd, she'll meet her new keepers. Taronga keepers Roger and Elisa have travelled across the Tasman to make the introductions. After 5 days and some big ocean swells, swinging around in midair isn't causing Karaka any concerns.
They're animals that just go with the flow, which makes doing what we've just done a lot easier.
Male Zabulu uses his 5-metre-high head to get a glimpse of the new girl. But leaving the familiar security of her crate is a big step for the little giraffe.
Kia ora. I'm going to try and shut that door before she goes back in.
Yeah. She's not too keen to leave her crate, which has been her home for the last couple of days, obviously. She's looking really good, though. She's moving really well, which is a really good sign.
She's taking it all in. She can obviously see the other 2 giraffe there, so that's nice for her, that she sees her own species. So, you know, all the hard stuff's over now. She gets to just chill out for a little while and come to terms with being a New Zealander.
But the ins and outs of Kiwi culture will have to wait for a few weeks while Karaka's in quarantine. Then the keepers will introduce her to the zoo's resident couple. But will they accept her? Reptiles can be found in almost every corner of our planet. They're adapted to every ecosystem from the desert to the sea. And Lou Parker is a walking, talking authority on these scaly creatures.
Working with reptiles is my dream job. I've always been very passionate about reptiles. They're incredibly interesting animals. I work with exotic reptiles like Smiley, and I get to work with also our native reptiles like green geckos and tuatara, so it's great.
Galapagos tortoises are the undisputed heavyweights of the tortoise world. All reptiles are cold-blooded, but these giants have got a lot of body to heat up before a day's grazing.
Look at that turtle. I've already seen this turtle.
We have 3 Galapagos tortoises here at the zoo. This big male in front of me, his name's Smiley, and he's the youngest out of the 3. He's 40 years old. Next to him, this is Snapper, and she's 41, and we have another female that's over the other side of the enclosure, and she's 42 years old. For Galapagos tortoises, that's very young because they could live until they're 250 years old. So they're equivalent to human teenagers, and they're reproductively active now.
Galapagos tortoises are notoriously slow breeders. The females lay plenty of eggs, but so far none have hatched. To give Smiley some clues, zoo vet Bethany is using an ultrasound to find out when the girl's eggs will be most fertile.
Hi, Smiley.
Morning, Beth.
Morning.
So I'll get her standing up for you, Beth.
Yeah, that's great, and I'll come around behind.
You're all right, Snapper. Good girl. But we're very lucky with these animals because they have a natural behaviour where they'll stand up to be scratched like this. So that makes it very easy for Beth to come along and ultrasound her from behind.
Ultrasound's a really non-invasive tool, so we can just pop it into a little spot there in front of her leg, and we get a really good look at the inside organs. You can see some little follicles developing. And in a second I'll freeze the screen and then I can measure those, and we know that when they reach about 4 centimetres they're ready to actually ovulate out and go into the oviduct. Okay, so Lou, we can actually just see here there's 2 calcified eggs just there.
Great.
So that's those bright white lines, yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so that shows that she's definitely producing eggs. We might expect to see some laying sometime soon.
Yeah, you're going to start nesting, Snapper, soon. We'll keep an eye on you.
She's actually claimed the ultrasound. That's fine, it's fine. It's in a nice pocket. But we might get her to just step forward and we'll retrieve our ultrasound. And wonderful. Yep.
So now it's all up to Smiley, but can he perform under pressure? Around Auckland Zoo, the animals are tucking into their favourite meals. But what goes in must come out. Keeper Lou has brought some fragrant manure from another male Galapagos tortoise, which she hopes will boost male Smiley's mojo.
What I have in my hand is some willy poo, which is Smiley's brother, that's been brought down for Tea Point Reptile Park. And I'm hoping by scattering this in the enclosure, Smiley's going to think Willy's been around and after his girls, and he's going to want to come through and then mate with our females. So fingers crossed.
Smiley's been separated from the girls for just over 2 months in the hope that absence will make the heart grow fonder.
What's in here? Oh.
His brother's manure certainly seems to be getting up Smiley's nose, but will that translate into romance?
I'm going to open up the gates now, and hopefully Smiley will be interested enough to go and look for the females. And with any luck, he might even have an attempt to mate them pretty much straight away. So that's really what I'm hoping for. There we go, mate. You want to come through and see the girls?
Right on cue, Smiley's off for some quality time with one of the girls.
These guys, everything is life in the slow lane, so we might have to be very patient. It may not happen today.
Chippy is the least friendly of the 2 females. Hopefully, Smiley doesn't get put off. With mood lighting for some atmosphere, the scene is set. Will Smiley get stage fright?
We're seeing some good signs here. Smiley's showing quite a bit of interest in the female. His tail's moving from side to side. She's moved around a couple of times and presented her behind to him. What I'm really hoping is that she'll raise up on her back feet and move her tail out of the way so then he can mate with her. The noise that you just heard, tortoises only ever make noise when they are mating, so that is a really good sign now too that he's keen to get going.
But while this delicate courting ritual gets rolling, the other female snapper senses something's up. Snapper barges in on Smiley and Chippy. Smiley doesn't appreciate the intrusion. The unscheduled interruption has ruined the moment. Smiley heads for the hills.
Oh well, Smiles, not today, but we'll leave you with your girls and hopefully over the next week or so we might see some mating, eh? Good man.
Smiley may be the zoo's most casual of customers, but over at the orangutan enclosure, a relaxed Malua is giving him a run for his money today. She doesn't know it yet, but her day is about to get busy. She's going under anaesthetic to have her dry, cracked hands and feet checked out. Orangutans are extremely strong, so inside the vet clinic, everybody's going through the risks and making a plan to make sure everything goes smoothly.
So in the unlikely event that she becomes light during the anaesthetic, we've got emergency drugs on hand that we will administer to her. And we've got firearms on standby as well, and these are all just kind of, backup plan.
This is the determinant and ketamine. She's taken saline very well, but this has some ketamine in it, so it's quite stingy. So she might just pull away and be like, what is that? It burns. It didn't burn before. So that's the variable that I guess I'm a bit nervous about.
Orangutans are intelligent and perceptive, so the keepers will try to make everything as normal as possible. So far, Charlie and Malua haven't noticed a thing. One jab down, one to go.
Yes, good girl. Got it all. Got it all, got it all.
It seems all Courtney's needle handling practice with Malua has paid off. By the time the vets arrive, Malua is nearly sedated. But everyone will wait a little longer to be certain she's completely under. Adult orangutans have the strength of 6 humans.
Go on in, Malua. Good girl. Okay, let's move her back.
Ooh. I'm going to give her this extra ketamine here. Yeah. Good girl. Good girl, Malua. Let me just give her a hug.
The call is made for the move to the surgery. Malua appears sound asleep, but there's a chance she might wake up, so speed and security are essential.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Finally, all hands are on deck as Malua is put on the vet's table. Skin specialist Alan Bell examines her uncomfortable hands and feet.
Orangutans get around with their hands and feet, and that's where those biopsies are going to come from. Can be, quite painful, even though she'll have pain meds. So it's really important that we've got some input with the specialist on the placement of those biopsies.
How normal is this skin?
That's very dry.
That is very
That's dry.
Yes.
So it should be like this.
Yes. Usually we don't see those, like the follicles in the other ones.
Tiny samples of Malua's skin are removed so the dermatologists can run tests on them and hopefully find out what's causing her the problems. With the most delicate part of the procedure completed, Amy takes over with some unusual finishing touches.
It can help just to take the attention away from the sutures in her punch wounds from the biopsies. So rather than kind of pick away at the stitches, she can kind of scratch away at the nail polish.
As it's been 10 years since her last health checkup, the team takes advantage of the remaining anaesthetic and gives Malua a full warrant of fitness.
Looking at the body of the uterus and just checking if there's any abnormalities. We wouldn't necessarily expect them, but just to check that that's looking healthy.
Her overall health check says that she's very healthy, which is really good news. And then hopefully we'll get some answers with those biopsies as well, so we can kind of move forward with her hands and kind of figure that out as well. So yeah, awesome. Really happy with it.
Over at Pride Lands, Caracas waiting out her final day of quarantine.
So what I'm going to do today is actually going to put some bit of browse in here in the stall, and I'll bring Rakia, one of our other females, into the stall next to her, and they're going to be able to meet for the very first time.
David's plan is a vital baby step towards Karaka being accepted into the herd. Female giraffes are very sociable, often joining forces in the wild to raise their offspring together in a sort of communal calf creche.
See them actually meeting for the first time. Although they have seen each other over the other side of the paddock and that sort of thing, it's really the first time that Karaka's in about a month and a half she's actually had contact with another giraffe, so it must be a big relief for her. And it's a huge step forward as well to getting these guys all integrated and all in the same paddock together.
Even for a giraffe, Karaka's taken some enormous strides today. However, there's no guarantee that the zoo's big male Zabulu will be as pleased to see her in just a few days' time. It's only been a day since Smiley's unsuccessful love connection, but Keeper Lou has found something very exciting at the Galapagos enclosure.
Right, so last night when I was leaving the zoo, I noticed that one of our female Galapagos tortoises was digging a nest right here. So we investigated this morning and I did find some eggs, and now I'm going to dig down and pull them out. And I'm going to be really careful not to move them, because if reptile eggs are rolled around, it can kill the embryo before much development occurs, and we don't want that to happen. So I'll mark them on the necks on the top to make sure that we don't move them from here on in. And they'll be given a number as well, so we can identify them as the months go on during incubation.
Auckland summers are warm, but nothing like the Galapagos. So Lou has organised personal central heating.
So this will be their home for the next 6 to 9 months. We'll keep a close eye on them. We don't have high hopes that they're fertile, but if they are, that'd be fantastic to have baby Galapagos tortoises here at the zoo. But all we can do is wait.
In the meantime, Smiley now knows what's expected of him and will keep trying for offspring.
Hello, Malua. Hello. What are you guys up to?
A few weeks after Malua's checkup and biopsy for her dry skin and cracked hands and feet, Courtney finally has some answers to her questions.
Fortunately, we know that it is not a fungal infection, which is good, so we ruled that out. But we also found out that it's a spongiatic dermatitis, which is just basically an inflammation of the skin. So from now on, we're just gonna treat with an oil that will be formulated by the dermatologist, and we'll just go from there and see how she goes.
The procedure doesn't appear to have affected her appetite. Malua is fighting fit and content to watch Marju in the full swing of zoo life. At the giraffe enclosure, Karaka's loving her new home.
You guys are such a good pair.
Karaka and Rakia here met a couple of days ago, and it all went really well. When we actually let them out together, they were just ready to meet each other, and they were sniffing all over, and there was no aggression. So all things going well today, the same sort of scenario will happen when Karaka gets to meet Zabulu for the first time. Last time Zabulu met a young female, it was actually Rakia, and he was absolutely petrified of it. So, you know, who knows? He's grown up a lot since then, and hopefully he's not going to be quite so scared. Giraffe integrations usually go quite smoothly, so we're not expecting any major issues.
Zabulu's waiting in the Pride Lands enclosure. Rakia leads the way. And it's not long before Karaka's curiosity wins out, and she cautiously follows her new friend. Zabulu spots the newcomer and wastes no time checking her out.
Whoa, that's a bit nasty. Bruler's getting a little bit aggressive with Karaka now and chasing her around a bit. He's head swinging quite a lot, which is quite unusual for a male to be doing to a female. That's normally a behaviour you'd see between two males. You could see him sort of getting all puffed up, and he was making himself look as tall as he could. And if he was a bird, he'd be fluffing all his feathers out. He was getting, quite a staunch stance on him.
Everyone got a little bit worried, a little bit on edge, myself included. I was quite worried and quite concerned for Karaka's sake. Things are starting to calm down now, which is really quite cool to see. Starting to see the end goal, which is be everyone together in the same paddock, enjoying each other's company, which would be really quite neat to see.